the Abarth. I am on my way to drop the car off at Targa Florio down in Chichester somewhere. All I know is it's like a couple of hours outside of London, I know that much. Yes, today is the day that I finally sold the Abarth. It's taken me a long time to sell it. Part laziness on my part because I didn't get the car up on my Instagram or actually really try and sell it. I was just sort of mulling it over in my head and saying, yeah, it's a sale, but I didn't actually make a full move on it. But put it up for sale. As usual, the internet provides many lols in offering me anything from a picture of someone's mum to Freddos to blackjacks, fruit salads, dates, all the things that I don't need in return for my car. But we did finally manage to come to a deal with these guys, so I'm heading down to check out their stock, hand over baby Rhino, and start the next chapter as to what my daily is going to be, because I've been having lots of thoughts about it. I was thinking, you know what, I could go like full bore and get something like super expensive and it'll be expensive every month and blah 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 and all the rest of that, but I've got a small confession to make. I am actually, in fact, terrified of finance. Oh, turn the radio off. Yeah, I'm terrified of finance. I bought this car outright. I've never actually had finance on any of my cars. I've always just bought them because, you know, I mean, the value of a car that I've always bought has always been pretty much sub 20k anyway. So it's kind of a new venture for me, yeah, getting finance. And I know it's like, it's, you know, safe and there's lots of things to look out for, and, you know, like half of the YouTube field are financed up to their eyeballs. But it's just something that I really want to take care of, because it's like, it's just me supporting myself, and I don't want to get myself into a situation where I've got my flat and this car and like the other cars to pay for as well. So enough of me moaning about finance and just generally being anxious little cat. So yeah, I've been looking at lots of different cars, and I think I've managed, oh my god, I've got an itch in my eye. You know when you get, bet this looks great. Anyway, so I've narrowed the choices of what I potentially really want to buy down to two cars, which is an F80 M3 or the C63S AMG. Both fairly heavy cars, absolutely awesome. Like I'm erring more towards the M3 just simply because there's so many things that I would want to do with it, and it's kind of nice to have like new M3, old E21, like continuation of the garage and all the rest of it. But I'm not completely set on that yet. I need to drive a couple cars because there are some other options, but we shall see. Anyway, we will reconvene once I have finished this really long drive. So yeah. Right then, guys and girls, so the time has actually come for the Abarth to go. I just had a little look around the stock that is here at Targa Florio, and I tell you what, the guys here are so nice. It's quite a relief really, because I've never sold my car to a garage, so I always have my preconceptions about who's going to be in there, are they going to talk to me like a dickhead, blah 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 blah. Like, you always have that sort of feeling that they maybe try and talk to you like you don't know what you're talking about, but they've been super helpful, helped me put my plate on retention, and are going to help me potentially find another car. So I have, as I was saying, been looking at F80 M3s, and the first thing that I see when I pull in is this little Badger. So this is probably one of the models that I potentially could invest in next. But I know that BMW are coming out with a new M3 next year, but this one is the original F80 shape. It's rather nice. Quite proud of how clean my car is before I sell her. Look at that, absolute pristine, blinding. Can even do my makeup in the mirror. Oh yeah. Right, let's go try this other car out. Let's go see what they've got inside actually. So as soon as I walk into the showroom, obviously this M4 DTM has caught my eye. These things are mega.
I mean, everyone keeps saying about M4 as opposed to M3. Like, I just always like the M3 with the 4 doors as well, because I don't know, it's just useful. This though, it's got obviously the cage in the back. I'm not doing a very good job. I'm basically just showing you my reflection right now. But yeah, these are sick. But they're about 120 grand. A little bit out my price range for now. But yeah, what else is there to see? Here we have a 718 Cayman. There's quite a lot of these about a minute. You can also get a really, really nice manual version, which they've got one over here in a rather nice colour. This is a 718 as well. Yeah, this is a lovely spec, but it's also manual, which is the main thing. Again, I'm doing a really bad job of showing you actually inside. I'm just showing you my reflection. But the colour is definitely one to watch out for. And we have a little cheeky Mustang over here. I don't even know what a Lucari is. Like, I've never heard of it, but it looks like a really nice spec. Maybe I should look at getting a Mustang. Again, with all of these cars, they're sub 40 to 50k, and there is so much performance to be had there. There's like massive engines, like up to 500 horsepower. But it's just like, what? It's not even like mad expensive. I think there's so many cars out there that you can have for not loads of money that have all of the performance that you could ever want and need before losing your license. That's what I'm thinking anyway. Okay, so this was my wildcard option, a GTR. Now, a little bit more than I wanted to pay, but I know that these things are absolute monsters on the road, and it's not that far out of the price range that it would be unreasonable. I think I definitely need to get out in one and drive it, but a couple of my friends that have had them, own them, and some people that have driven them as well have said that they are absolute monsters. What do you guys think? As a wildcard option, should I get a GTR? Okay, so we've got the keys to the M3. Let's go see what this is all about. Ooh. Although, I do enjoy an M3. They're quite analog. There's not really lots and lots going on here with all the screens and infotainment, but this is more about how this thing drives than how it looks interior wise. Right, so let's see what the M3 feels like. Now, I've always sort of fantasized about these cars. You know, when you were younger, and it was like, yeah, the M3 was the Dom Daddy. Oh, we've got a little bit of a... Oh, he's coming out. Yeah, the M3 was the one to have when I was younger, looking at cars and that sort of thing. Started with that wonderful E30 M3, which was kind of like the dream car for so many of us. And then as I got older, it was then I wanted the E46 and then the E92, and now we've got to this, the F80 M3. And here it is. It's kind of weird when you start driving something that you sort of looked at for ages, and then you're like, okay, cool, no, this is really it. This could actually be mine. It's kind of like a little, yeah, like a little girl dream. I can suddenly afford something like this. That's the other thing. What I have to remember is that I'm very spoilt with what I get to drive, so I have to remember that, yeah, okay, maybe it doesn't react like a McLaren 600 LT, but that's not the point. This would be my car, and it'd be something to get my teeth stuck into again, like modify a little bit, because I definitely have to do something. Little exhaust, nice little colour change, maybe like change the suspension, get some Bilstein up in here, change the wheels. Like, it's been a long time. I mean, the BMW gives me sort of my modifying bug, but that's more of a sort of keeping it nice thing now. Right, hold on, let's put it into, right. It's got start stop turned on. How do I turn that back off? God, you can tell I haven't driven one of these before. Right, what happens when you turn the traction control off? Okay, she's off. Give it a little. Yeah, she moves. Okay, with the traction control off, it's a little bit more fun. I can imagine me coming out of my driveway doing that. Gotta love rear-wheel drive cars, man. They just make you smile all the time. Like, and do you know what? That would make, if I was to get one of these, that means I'd have rear wheel drive cars in the stable. So the S15, the E21, and then the F80, if that's what I would get.
So far so good, I'm enjoying it. The only thing about these cars that lets me down is the interiors are so, as I said when I got in the car, analog, kind of boring. Is that really bad? Ugh. Which is why the C63S with the AMG, the interior in that is pretty insane on a level to this. But this does what it says on the tin. It's an M3. It is all about the driving as opposed to how fancy it is. Okay, I'm gonna have a little think and also put the traction back on.
So William has very kindly thrown me the keys to this because he knows that the wild card is tempting me a little bit. Now, the GTR, okay, this is a 16 plate, but the thing is so old school inside, it's a joke. But these are 550 brake horsepower of ultimate madness. Like, look at this interior, man. It is so old school. Again, I'm looking at analog cars quite a bit, I have noticed that. But imagine if you put some bucket seats in here. Ooh, let's take it for a drive. I'm intrigued, lads, I'm intrigued. First impressions, like, it is massively a time hop in here, considering this car is only 3 years old as well. But apparently it's all about the performance in these. I've never actually driven one, is that mad? But I know plenty of people that have had one and they're just like, they are ballistic. So I'm gonna give it a go. I've heard many a good thing about these cars. It's been left to warm up for a bit, so if anyone, oh god, it is quite big as well. Right. First of all, the seating position is quite nice in it. I quite enjoy the fact that I'm nicely hugged, but I definitely feel, I've seen a couple of these with like bucket seats in, some Recaro CS's and that, and it looks really good. Just feels like it almost feels like I'm driving my S15, but in a much like plusher way. A lot of the feedback is the same. Apart from that's two-wheel drive, this is four-wheel drive. I don't know, maybe I'm just making connections in my head that aren't there. Maybe. I'm massively intrigued by these things. Okay. Understand what people are saying now, that it just has this kind of like, oh god, you're strap in and strap on. That didn't even make any sense. Ooh, guys, we might have a game changer here. Ooh. What do we think? This is completely standard stock bodywork, stock wheels, stock everything inside. And apparently the guy that had it before was completely OCD about it, so everything is mint, down to not even letting people kick the sills as they get in. Lots of boot space in there. Having driven it, it is fairly ballistic. Like, the gearbox is crazy, and if you start messing around with all the different modes that you've got, it just turns into an absolute monster. But is this the car for me? I don't know, you know. Okay, so I've driven the GTR and I've driven the M3, and now I'm more confused than ever about what to buy next, because there's definite plus points in both cars, but there's also definite minus points. And as I said to you earlier, girl that's terrified of finance, and it's quite a big layout of money for me to make, so it has to be the right decision. But at the same time, I'm not going to keep it forever. It could be like 9 months, could be a year, could be 2 years, depending on how I get on with it. But I will say the guys here at Targa Florio have been wonderful. Selling my car has been made an absolute dream by them, which is handy, because I tell you what, if you ever try and sell a car to the public as a private dealer, it is a complete nightmare, and they've absolutely sort of looked after me. So well done to you guys for that. Super, super friendly. If you're looking to buy a car, again, they're helping me in ways that they will never ever know, because he's giving me the sort of the lowdown on the market as well, telling me how well they hold their value, you know, different options on things. Because I keep looking at that GTR now. That wasn't even in the actual runnings for something I wanted to buy. So he's done pretty well to catch my eye on something I wasn't sure on. But I'm gonna go head back now, get a train back to London, because I'm now without my baby Abarth. Baby Rhino has been sold. She is no more. It's quite sad really, but anyway, onwards and upwards. On to the next car, next video. What's next? Catch you again soon. Bye.